Almost all the Republican candidates we've interviewed in recent weeks tell us they support Mr. Trump and hope that he runs again in 2024. But not all of them agree with his unfounded claim that the 2020 election was stolen. North Carolina Republican candidates fall into three categories when asked if they support the former president's baseless claims about the 2020 election. Those who are certain, like congressional candidate Mike Andriani, running in the 9th District representing Randolph County. Do you support his claims that the last election was stolen?
I do.
And Peter Boykin, candidate for the North Carolina House representing Alamance County. Do you believe that the 2020 presidential election was stolen from Mr. Trump?
Absolutely.
Marianne Katajanis, running in North Carolina's 6th congressional district, says she's not sure.
I think it's just really difficult to say whether or not the election was stolen or not.
Some candidates want further investigation, like Guilford County Republican Jerry Austin, who's also running in North Carolina's 6th congressional district.
There's evidence of it all across the country. Was it stolen? I don't know. I don't know that we will ever know.
And Ed Priola, who's running for the North Carolina House in Alamance County. Do you believe that the 2020 election was stolen?
I believe that there needs to be an investigation of the election.
There are Republicans who reject the former president's unfounded claims of fraud. David Ashley is running for the North Carolina House in Randolph County. Do you then support his claim that the election was stolen?
I have never seen any evidence or heard of any evidence or read about any evidence that that election is stolen.
Caswell County Republican Laura Picardo is running in North Carolina's 6th congressional primary.
I believe that sometimes people get upset when things don't get their way. I personally don't believe that it was stolen from him.
And Jamestown Republican Marvin Boguslawski, he's also running in North Carolina's 6th congressional primary.
I don't like the results, obviously. I don't believe it was stolen in terms of there's lots of inconsistencies in the voting, but in the end, the law's the law.
Some candidates tell us they have evidence that the election was stolen, such as congressional candidate Courtney Giles, running to represent Alamance County.
I don't believe that that was a fair and secure election in 2020. I can show you the proof of that.
Giles says that her husband found 100,000 questionable votes while working on a voter fraud case in Georgia. She didn't provide any evidence to support that claim.
That case was voluntarily dismissed by Trump. And so no one really ever heard the truth.
Brian Biggs, a North Carolina House candidate in Randolph County, says he suspects fraud because voting numbers in North Carolina didn't add up.
We had some counties in North Carolina that had 105% participation. Well, that's impossible because you only have 100% of eligible voters.
Who's making that claim?
Well, that was I don't know what the name of the group was. I'd have to get that back to you on that. But
Biggs isn't the only candidate to claim evidence of more votes than voters. Peter Boykin, the Alamance County House candidate, makes the same claim.
Regions where 105% of the people came out and voted, it just the statistics doesn't, it just doesn't add up.
The 105% that you make reference to, where does that number come from?
I would say that evidence has been put out there as much possible. You can go on places like Telegram.
Boykin says the information is online but not available on sites controlled by the mainstream media. Congressional candidate Francisco Rio says he believes there was fraud, but admits he cannot substantiate it.
I don't have any evidence either that was happening, but there were reports of irregular things happening.
Guilford County Republican Lee Hayward, running for Congress in the North Carolina 6th District, tells us it's time to move on from the 2020 election.
President Biden he's going to be there for 2 or 3 more years, and we're just going to have to live with it.
Judging by a new poll, most Republican voters expect fraud in this year's midterm elections. According to a survey conducted for the John Locke Foundation, a conservative group based in Raleigh, 60% say no, they don't expect free and fair elections this year. 30% say yes, 10% are unsure. Are you concerned by that large a number of Republican voters don't believe that the elections can be fair?
I do. I think that is troubling.
Congressman Richard Hudson is running to represent Randolph County in the primary. He supported a legal challenge to overturn the 2020 presidential election. And he also objected to counting the Electoral College votes on the night of January 6th. He says what happened that day was a travesty, but he doesn't support the congressional investigation. You voiced concern about what happened on January 6th, yet you voted against the investigation. Why?
If anyone assaulted a police officer, I'm all for, let's get into the bottom of that. But this commission that was created by Speaker Pelosi is a charade.
Most of the Republican candidates we interviewed say they don't agree with the congressional investigation, either because it's partisan or they believe that the country needs to move on. Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.